Welcome. It is a bit late. It's almost 9:30. I think around 9:31 or so. Um, but I wanted to talk a little bit today about um, some steps to financial security. Uh, this thing is kind of pausing. Let's hope that it goes and it's fine. But anyway, I am Carmen Bernard. I am an advocate for financial literacy education and teaching people how money works, how to ensure that you make your money work for you so that we can begin to narrow this wealth gap and so that we can begin to create generational wealth for our family. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. If you can hear me, um, put hi in the chat or something just so I know that you can hear me. Say hello in the chat if you can hear me. Don't want to be speaking and you can't hear me. I see that there's some people that's joining. Just say hello, a quick hello. This thing would not let me be great today. All right, I am not seeing anything, so hopefully you can hear me. Seems like I'm having a little bit of trouble with my. Seems like I'm having a little bit of trouble with my Wi-Fi. Anyway, we will go ahead and not let that stop us. Again, I'm Carmen Bernard, and I am here to every Wednesday. I'm here every Wednesday with my Big Legacy Talks, and we are specifically putting this series on steps to financial security. So, factually speaking, this series is going to have about five different parts. In part one, we're talking about financial literacy. So, why should we even talk about financial literacy, right? It is the number one economic crisis in the world. Okay, um, it's studies show that over over 30% of people in the world are financially illiterate. All right, it's not a bad thing because it's not really taught. Right, we do not. Hey, thanks for joining me, Suran. We do not teach this in schools. I think it's only about one state or two states in the United States that require it as a high school class, and then they do not even scratch the surface. I can tell you this because I taught in the school system, and we taught business. I taught business education. That was not the things that are necessary um, for us to be able to gain financial security, the things that are necessary for us to be able to create generational wealth, the things that are necessary for us to be able to narrow the wealth gap are not are not anywhere in the curriculum. And so it is no surprise that 30% of people in the world are financially illiterate. And that's a lot of people, right? If we have 7.5 billion people in the world, that means over 5 billion are financially illiterate. And I'm going to tell you that that number is going to be way higher in our marginalized community, in the Black and African American community. Because there was somebody, I can't remember the name, and used to say, if white America has a cold and Black America has pneumonia. And so it hits us harder. Hey, Sunita, thank you for joining. So I'm not going to be on here long tonight. I just want to talk about the first step for creating financial security, the first step to financial security. And I think that that is financial literacy, understanding how money works and how to make money work for you. Actually, it says 17 states require high schools to have a financial literacy course. And many of the times, those courses are lacking. They're teaching students like how to write a check and how to balance a checkbook and things like that. And yes, those things are required, but when was the last time you when was the last time that you did that, right? At least manually. But I'm getting a message that it is sort of freezing, and I do think it is um, my internet. I hear something going on outside, might be a storm or something, but I'm not, so I'm not sure. I'm just going to continue right now, and hopefully, if not, I'll just redo this part again tomorrow. But I'm just going to go ahead and continue. All right, but here's what happens, right? Um, we need to understand how money works and how to make money work for us, right? What's going on is that we don't understand that, when we're in our working years or our younger years, we are not spending enough time making sure that we're preparing for the future. you know yeah, this is freezing really badly. This is freezing really badly, so I don't know if I should just I can see it. I can see myself. It's just like in, out, in, out, in, out. Even I have that virtual background, it keeps disappearing. And so I'm not even sure if I should actually continue. But basically, it's not freezing. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. All right. So basically, we want to make sure that, well, I'm going to share some statistics with you, right? Here's some statistics for you. Nobody has any money. And more importantly, in our community, we are not teaching our younger people that they need to start preparing for the future. So let's look at, according to a recent survey, when we're speaking about retirement, millennials have a median amount of about $23,000 saved for retirement. They still have some time. Gen Xers, they have about $66,000 saved for retirement. Baby boomers, they have the most. They have about 152,000 saved for retirement. And 7 in 10 baby boomers plan to continue working. Let me tell you why that is dire, right? If you have $66,000 saved in, well, let me go to the baby boomers. If you have $150,000 saved in retirement, and you need about 30 or $40,000 to live for living expenses, we are, thank you so much for confirming that you can hear me, but we can't, that is going to last you about 4 years. People are spending 25 to 30 years in retirement. So we have to understand that in order to be able to have enough money for our retirement, you got to understand how money works and understand compound interest, which we will talk about in one of my other series coming up. But we have to understand how we save little by little automatically, and to make sure that it is compounding for us using that asset of time, so that we will be able to have enough money to retire on. Because if you have $150,000 and you're living at about $50,000 a year, that's 3 years, and you still will have about, you're now 1/10 of the way into your retirement, right? Because people, like I said, are living 25, 30 years into their retirement. If you adjust your style, your way of living, maybe you can push it to about 6 years. However, the thing is that, um, that is the biggest fear of most retirees, and that is running out of money. And we'll talk about some of the things that we can do to ensure that you do not run out of money, right? Then the other thing with us not understanding how money works, we're stuck in this pending cycle, right? We eat out. Average $181 a month is spent on eating out by the typical American. We spend about $83 a month, and that is way up now with the cost of inflation being up. And that $181 too is also up. With the cost of inflation being up, with the cost of gas and everything, all these things, um, sorry, not the cost of inflation, but with inflation being up, the cost of goods and services are also up. In many cases, doubled and tripled. And but we are spending, events. We're spending 30, 60, $100 a month. We're spending on lottery tickets. Lottery tickets. I understand you got to be in it to win it, but we're spending money on lottery tickets. We're spending average of 60 to $100 a month on lattes, on coffee. So that's over $1,200 a year. Alcohol, clothing. We are in a constant just receive our money, we get the money, and we turn around and spend it. It's called basically the sucker cycle, right? And so for me, I think it's the biggest reason why financial literacy is most important, right? So, what is your family's financial literacy plan? What is your family's, what is the plan? Is your conversation about financial literacy to your children to get a job? Is that it? Do we just get a job, right? Is your financial literacy plan to continue to tell the children to get a good education, go to college, and we are not even talking about student loans or how do we pay for that, and then get a good job and find work for somebody for 40 years. Well, a lot of us found out over the past couple of years that that does not work anymore, right? So we have to have a plan. We've got to start talking to our children. Basically, what has happened is that we go to school, we get a job, we go to college, we get a job, we come out, get a job, we have a ton of student loan bogged down on us in our 20s and in 30s. We buy that home, some of us, but we are now riddled in debt. And then in our 40s and 50s is when we're thinking about getting a business or something like that. But so how about we change that around a little bit, right? How about you get good grades, go to college, yes, get a job in your chosen field, and that's basically all we talk about. But how about we change that around a little bit? How about we're not talking about getting a business in our 40s, but we're talking to our 6 year olds about getting a business, right? How about let's even go back? How about us talking of making sure that our children are insured when they are born? How about us making sure that we are investing in some stocks for those children before they are even born, right? And I'm not talking about just buying one stock, but because those children have so much time. I mean, just think of a stock like Google or Amazon when it was first introduced, like $10 or whatever it is. Then that stock over the years grew to $2,400, right? Now it just had a split a couple of days ago where you could get the 20-to-1 split. So now you can, if you're giving that brand new baby a start, that would probably be a good place, right, to put that because it's going to continue to grow and go back up, and they have the time for that. All right. Yes, that split definitely makes it more affordable. But I was talking to our children about whole life cash value insurance, and some of you might say, "Why would I talk to my child about that?" Right? And but I'm going to show you the play and the reason why we need to be talking to our children about that. How about talking about to our children about real estate? How about talking to our children about entrepreneurship, right? The battles of tomorrow are won today. The battles of tomorrow are won today. So, how do we position our children to compete with others? How do we position our children to ensure that they are able to compete with others? They are not saddled in debt for some bare necessity things like a college education. They're not saddled in debt for their very first car. They're not saddled in debt when they're going to get a home. So we want to position our children. That's the reason why financial literacy is important, right? We want to position our children to be able to compete with others later on. What has been happening is that our children has always been behind the eight ball when it's time to start because they are starting out riddled in debt. And we will talk in our next segment about what are those things that we do. But financial literacy education is most important. So, number one, read, read, read. There's so many books available. There's so many people available that you can talk to. What can I do with my? I haven't done it. My child is now 2 years old, but what can I do now? You still have a lot of time. That child still has a lot of time. So the very first thing you're going to do is focus on getting a financial literacy education that includes understanding how money works, understanding what is compound interest and how it works. Um, Compound interest, he who knows it earns it, he who doesn't pays it. And that was by, oh my God, put it in the chat if you know. It's is it Ben? Frank? I can't even remember. Albert Einstein, I think it was that said that. Sorry. But anyway, we want to make sure that we understand that. The third thing that we have to understand is time, time value of money. And understanding that if you start slowly, if you're consistent, and if it's automatic, it will grow. And I'm going to show you many different ways for us to be able to do this, right? I'm going to educate you on what steps you can actually take to do this. All right. The last but not least, we have to understand how to make our money work for us, meaning how to make it do more than one job, do more than one thing. I was speaking to someone today, and they basically told me like, my family, we're fine. We don't have um, to borrow money from anybody. We use cash, right? And the thing about it, if you're using cash, right, it's basically the difference between a spender and a saver, right? You have people say, I don't go into debt for anything. I use my own money. I use cash. So here's the thing. With the person who's using your money, you just set delayed gratification. You don't have to have it right now. So you save, 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 save. And as you're saving your money is probably earning some interest. But when you take that money and go ahead and purchase whatever it is that you have with cash, you've now depleted that. And you've also removed the ability for that money to grow for you in the same way. So basically, you were here at this line. We'll call this line of zero, this straight line, the line at the bottom here. And you save, 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 save. And here you are. You're at the top. You have enough money. You purchase something, and you go all the way back down to that line of zero. Now, if you want it right now, so you just go out and get it on that. So it's instant gratification, right? So you purchase it right now, and your debt is all the way up here. And the same way, like the saver had to save little by little by little to get to where had to get to purchase, you, the debtor, now have to pay little by little by little until you pay that off. And back, both of you are at the line of zero. So there are things that we can do to make sure that we are not either that saver or that spender who the one that's now building debt, or the one that removes that money's not working for them anymore because they removed it and now it's not being able to earn anything for them. But we can show you what you can do to spend that money, get what it is that you need, and not be in crazy debt and still have your money earned for you, right? You guys listen, you hear all the gurus talking about using other people's money. Well, it is true. The wealthy do not use their own money, they use other people's money. And the great part is that we can do the same thing that the wealthy people do. This is available to us, and we can do it. All right, so join me next Wednesday as I come back and talk about second, the second step to financial security. We'll be talking about life insurance. First step, get a financial education. Second step, protect what you have for now and in the future. Thank you so much. See you again on Factually Speaking, brought to you by Big Legacy Talks and Carmen K. Bernard. If you need to speak with me or ask any questions, just reach out at carmen10k.com. Thanks. Bye bye.